Hello, this is a quick little video to kind of take you through the accuplacer practice test. This information for your free codes lives on our Ivy Tech website at ivytech.edu. If you type in accuplacer here in the search, it'll take you to this screen. We are all using the exact same login, accuplacerpractice.collegeboard.org. We are using the same access code and the same order number. And again, your teacher or your guidance counselor may have already given you this. When you come to the Accuplacer website, the first thing you need to do is create a new account. Okay. You may use any email address here. It may be your own. It may be a fake one. And I'm going to make that for you. Okay, I'm using a fake account called George Washington, GEO Washington at hotmail.com. I'm going to put in a password. Okay, doesn't matter what you use. What is important is that you write down the account that you used and your password. Then click sign up. Okay, the next thing we have to do is put in our code and our order number. So the first one is our access code, and that is, they're all capital letters. It's XLT hyphen or dash HBY 9Z 6KS2. Okay, the order number is 610-1969. Wanted to go through these very carefully. So we're going to click login. As soon as you've made your account, you have to come in and hit as returning users. And again, I'm going to put in my George Washington and my password. It asked me if I want it to remember my password. I'm on a public machine, so I'm saying no. Okay, it tells us our account was created successfully. Okay. In this test, I want to go through the different tests and tell you a little bit about them. Elementary algebra is the most important one for the math test because that's where all of the math tests start. I recommend you start in Learn As You Go mode, and then after you have mastered that, after you've gone through it once, then take your sample test until you have mastered that part. If you are in a class that requires a college level math score, that's physics comes to mind, chemistry, some of the upper level classes require college level math. Your teacher or your guidance counselor will tell you if your class requires both elementary algebra and college level math. If it does, then you're going to do Learn As You Go first, and then once you've gone through that, then head over to your sample test. The other two tests are reading comprehension and sentence skills. Classes like history only require reading comprehension and sentence skills. They do not require a math score. So again, your teacher or your counselor will be happy to tell you exactly which tests you need to take. If you have a qualifying score from another test, let's say you have you need a 46 reading and a 46 writing, and you need a 46 math, and you have two of those three scores from your PSAT. Then for the one that you do not have, that's the only test you need to take in Accuplacer. So if you have a qualifying score already from PSAT, SAT, or ACT, then you don't need to take the Accuplacer for the ones that already have a qualifying score. You only need to take it for the ones that you do not have a qualifying score. I'm going to go through reading comprehension today. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is go through the Learn As You Go mode. Learn As You Go gives you a set of instructions, and it tells you that it's going to give you the answer immediately when you answer the question. So, I'm going to click Start New. And it may take a couple seconds for this to pop up. Okay, you're going to have a passage, questions, and answers. You have directions at the top. It says to read the statement or passage, choose the best answer based on what is stated or implied in the statement or passage. Okay, so we have a question. Question 1 of 15. The main idea of the passage is that television, and so if you start by reading the question, which is what I recommend, then you know exactly what it is you're reading to find out. This is a passage about television. It tells us that it's been the primary source of information and entertainment for Americans for 50 years. Goes on to talk about the internet a little bit, tells you, gives you a conclusion statement. However, this statistic may not tell the whole story, as 59% of Americans say they multitask using the internet and watching TV at the same time, simultaneously. We know simultaneously means at the same time. Okay, so gives you a little bit of information. And you think, the main idea is what? Okay. We're going to just pick, I'm going to pick an answer, and I want to pick an incorrect answer. So I'm going to pick C. All right. We know that the correct answer was B, may have become less popular than the internet. I wanted to pick an incorrect answer because I wanted you to see what happens when you have one that is incorrect. It tells you that it is watched by more people now than ever before. And it gives you a rationale. It tells you that B is correct and it tells you why. Then it comes down and tells you a little bit about the other answers that you could have chosen. Okay, gives you a little bit, tells you about the author, why, what they did or did not indicate, those kinds of things. The most important part, I think, of the reading comprehension practice test, in fact, of all the practice tests, is this rationale, because it tells you why one of them is correct and why the other choices are not. Okay. When you've satisfied with your answer on that, you're going to go next. Okay. Gives you another question. This one we're looking, or another passage. This one tells you that you're looking for something about the main idea. You're going to read the passage and then check your answer. Okay. I'm going to click finish this test later. I'm going to show you something. Okay. When you come in, I picked to finish it later. I'm going to go back in. I'm going to go back to Learn as you go mode. Okay. When you come back in, you can start new or resume. And if you start new, you will get a totally different set of questions than if you click resume. So you have your choice of being able to take this Learn as you go mode more than once if you want to. When I worked with some students this summer, I discovered that they did very well, probably the best, if they were in partners or groups of 3 or 4. They worked together, they kind of helped each other, they discussed what the answers were. I think that's a wonderful learning opportunity. So if you have a friend who also needs to work on the reading comprehension part, I think it's a wonderful thing for you to sit down and work on this together. Okay, so after you have finished the Learn as you go, I'm going to let this start new again. I'm going to go back to my other ones, so give me a sec. Okay. After you have gone through your Learn as you go, then you're ready for sample test mode. It's going to give you your instructions, and it tells you that the sample test is just that. It's in a test-like environment. So it's not going to give you the answers immediately. We'll click Begin. Again, these are randomized, so if you want to take the sample test 2 or 3 times, that is not a bad idea. I have been telling students, we'll let this find itself here. Please be patient with these. It depends on the speed of your internet, the speed of your machine, several factors here. So please be patient if they don't open right away. Okay. In this case, we have a passage. It asks us to find the main idea. and then it gives us some questions, some answers. I'm going to pick one. Submit. It's going to go on to question 2. We have 15 questions. You want to take your practice test over again until you have at least a 13 out of 15. That's when you know that you're really probably ready to go ahead and take the actual test. So that's at the time when you'll go to your counselor and say, you know, I practiced and I think I'm ready. Okay. Now, your counselor may say, okay, how do you know you're ready? Well, if you click on history here, it's going to give you your test history. Since this is the first time I've tested as George Washington, it tells me that no tests were available. But if I had finished both my Learn as you go mode and my practice test, my test history would be here. So if your counselor says, I want some kind of proof that you really did practice before we retest, this is what she's talking about, or he is talking about. This is your proof sheet. And you can just go up to File and Print. I'm going to do print preview so you can see it. Okay. Actually, it's not going back to there. Okay, one page view. Okay, in this print preview, you have a little print button up here, and this is where it's going to show. It says right here in the middle, your test history, and it says the percent correct, test title, and dates taken. And so mine says no test available because I didn't finish any test when I was logged in as George Washington for this sample. But if you had finished your test, it would give you this information down here, and that's what your counselor would want to see. So you would simply take this and then click the print button when you get to the print preview, and then click the print button so you can see. And that's what you can take to your counselor and say, I did practice and I'm ready to test. So that's a little bit about how this test works. I do encourage you, again, to work with a partner, if at all possible, to go through the Learn as you go mode, because I think there's a lot of good interaction that happens and a lot of good reading and sentence skills and math skills that you can kind of teach each other as you go through those. And then when you do the actual practice test, it's probably best to do those just by yourself until you get a 13 out of 15 so that you know you really are ready to retest. So thank you very much, and I wish you the very best on your accuplacer test. Thank you.